Hey everybody, Jim and Roger here for the Soul of the Unexplained, and this is our PhenomeCon 2024 day number 2 recap and review. So, Roger, go ahead and start us off with how our day at PhenomeCon day 2 began.
Well, we actually had you stay in a hotel, you get complimentary breakfast, and, we tried that the other day. It wasn't so good. Yeah, 2 thumbs down. So we decided to meet up with a couple other insiders and people there, and we went to JB's restaurant this morning and had the breakfast buffet, which, all in all, it was pretty darn good.
It was a hell of a lot better than the complimentary breakfast offered at our particular hotel. Especially, they had real bacon, which was nice, and they had both French toast and pancakes and scrambled eggs, and yeah, it was a nice change up to eat a real breakfast for once instead of frozen burritos.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we started our day off nice and early, but it was really good. That allowed us to eat a good breakfast and then get over to the conference center. And yeah, so again, we had another phenomenal day, and today started with Dave Schrader. And he is a paranormal expert, has been on many different shows. And honestly, I have to say, I really loved his discussion. It wasn't anything that I imagined. So, being a ghost hunter and having done different things and worked with a lot of different people, I was expecting to hear some ghost stories or things like that. But what he did focus on was very, very touching. And he talked about it's a very serious subject and something that I think all of us in one way or another have dealt with, and that is death, right? And he talked about how, we here in the Americas potentially treat, I would say North America here, the USA, we treat our dead with a lot of sadness and things like that, where other cultures and other people, traditions, actually celebrate death as a passing, and they're remembered with fun. He went through a lot of different examples, but really what I took out of that at the end of the day, what made this message really special, was that because life is short, right, we need to treat people with kindness and respect, and look at, no matter the situation, if something makes you angry or upset and you focus on that, try to twist that around, turn it around and say, what were the good things I liked about it, right? And it's just even some of those small things that you can do for somebody on any given day that may save a life, that may change the course of what they were thinking and how they go about life. So I found it to be very profound, and I really loved the discussion. It was a great way to start the day.
I would have to agree because one thing that we noticed is by the time Dave finished his talk, there were a lot of people around us that had misty eyes or that were outright, blubbering. And with good reason. Dave delivered his remarks in one of the most sincere manners I've ever seen anybody present at PhenomeCon. And like Roger was saying, it was all very relevant to something that everybody experiences. Whether you're somebody who's lost their parents recently, like I have, or somebody who's lost a good friend, a close friend, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever the case may be, we all will get a little taste of death at some point in our lives. And it made me think about, obviously the passing of my own mother and father, but also, I have to be honest, Raj, American funerals in particular kind of creep me out, because here we take this, empty vessel that used to be a person that we knew and loved, and we try to make them look alive, right?
Right.
We try to stave off the natural process of decay and decomposition. And I get the whole thing about wanting to be able to say a proper goodbye to your dearly departed loved ones, but there's just I've just never liked the way it is, which is why when I'm personally grateful that both of my parents, when they passed, they wanted to be cremated, and they were very insistent about not necessarily having a funeral as more so than like a celebration of life kind of thing, and it seems in recent decades that kind of thing has become more popular. And someday when I die, I don't want people to be all sad. I want them to be like, oh, man, I remember partying with that guy. I remember having tacos with Jim. I don't want, I just, like Dave was saying, it shouldn't necessarily be something that gets us down, because it's just something that happens to every living creature on the face of this earth, with the notable exception of maybe Keith Richards and Willie Nelson,
Right.
quite obviously. But all kidding aside, I thought Dave Schrader's talk, if I'm being perfectly honest, was probably in the top 5 of the best presentations I've ever seen and experienced at PhenomeCon throughout all 4 years of my attending PhenomeCon. So Dave Schrader gets a 2 very big thumbs up from me for his remarks. Absolutely. And what a great way to start the day, truly.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing way to start the day. And then, of course, after his presentation, lunchtime. And as you guys know, well, we cannot stay away from the delicious tacos. So
El Homie's Tacos, if you're ever in Vernal, man.
El Homie's Tacos.
El Homie's Tacos. Muy sabrosa. Ay, pinche tacos, right? Carne asada. And, we were fortunate enough to be joined by some of our very dear friends. Chris Bartell. We had tacos with Chris Bartell, the man, the myth, the legend himself. And, of course, Roger and I just think Bartell is an awesome guy to begin with. But to be able to enjoy some tacos with Chris Bartell was definitely a highlight of my day. So,
oh, yes.
Massive shout out to you, Bartell, wherever you happen to be.
Amazing, yes. It was great to see Chris and catch up and see all the latest that he's doing. So, an amazing lunch. And after that was over, we headed back in. And, of course, we were treated to another fantastic presentation from Nick Pope.
Right.
And, Jim, I'll let you take this one.
Well, Nick Pope, of course, very prominent figure. Been a long day, folks. Very prominent figure in the UFO UAP community, and he related a bunch of experience that he's worked on, and people, and just his insight that he offers is really enjoyable to listen to, and he's just such an engaging speaker. Anyway, he's got such a wonderful personality. And the way he was talking about, like, the Rendlesham incident over in the UK, and there was another one that he talked about that I guess happened like in 1993 over in the UK that came across his desk while he was working at the Ministry of Defense for the British government. So, and of course, if you've been watching these recaps, you know that I got to talk to Nick Pope last night about music, and to find out that Nick Pope is into a lot of the same great new wave and synth pop and post-punk music that I'm into was just the icing on the cake. So just absolutely enjoyable. Definitely one of the highlights of our day was Nick Pope.
Yes, and I'll add that he was talking about some very serious subjects, right? And part of the discussion was what happened, like, what if there is a very secret organization, right? And that why governments are keeping information from people. What about if it's that secret is too terrible to share, right? And he went through a lot of different scenarios and everything, but I really appreciated, and Jim's probably going to roll his eyes at that, but he made some pretty darn funny jokes. And they were not funny, but punny. And
he's British. What the hell do you expect? Right?
The humor was great. He had the crowd going, and the brief moments of levity definitely helped and just conveyed the message. And again, he was so. I mean, he definitely, he's like the UK gentleman.
He totally is.
He was
Totally is.
polite, proper.
And I've been saying this to Roger ever since we had a chance to meet him last night. Those of you that are synth pop fans will know who I'm talking about when I say this. He reminds me of Neil Tennant of the Pet Shop Boys. Just his voice. I'm waiting as Nick Pope is up there talking. I was just waiting him for it and break into. Sometimes you're better off dead. There's a gun in your hand and it's pointing to your head. Think you're mad, too unstable, kicking in chairs and knocking down tables in a restaurant in a West End town. Call the police, there's a madman around. Run him down, underground, to a dive bar in a West End town.
And it would have been spot on. Not kidding.
Right.
So that was great. And then, oh my gosh. So what, I don't even know if I can explain just the nature of this presentation. So
my head is still spinning and my jaw is still, reattached.
We had, for the first time, we were able to actually have a sit down and discussion with the amazing Jay Stratton. So I know there's been a lot of hype with Lou Elizondo and his recent book, Eminent, and right, Jay Stratton is mentioned in there a lot. Jay is the type of person who really works in the background, who, he's the consummate team player, and he gives props to all the people, all his teams that are out there doing the work. And like, I have so much respect for Jay and his family. It was amazing, and I'm not going to go into the details, just for the nature that they asked that there was no recording or taking pictures of things like that. But let's just say that he talked about a lot of things that have been declassified, and the research that he's done, and really the efforts that he and his teams have done to open up transparency, not only to the American people, but make an easy way for our professionals, our military, our pilots, people that, whether it be the Coast Guard, people that are out there putting their lives on the line, that see something that defies explanation, right? Mm-hmm. And we as the United States just have not had a great way to do that. And he walked us through that process. So it was a really great discussion. And honestly, I can't do it justice here and talking about just the way he presented himself and really being some of the first people to hear some of the information.
We'll let Jay talk about all that kind of things when he's ready to talk to the public in a public setting. But you said something a moment ago that really stood out to me, Roger, where you said that Jay is the consummate team player. I would go a little bit further and say that Jay is also the consummate team leader and team builder. I mean, just look at the organizations that Jay was instrumental in forming, if not being the individual that formed some of these amazing teams that were working to solve the mystery of what these things are that are flying with impunity in our airspace. And all that I'll say about Jay's presentation is that it was, again, as with Dave Strader's, Jay's presentation was probably in the top 3, I would say, of all-time PhenomeCon presentations that I've been fortunate enough to be present at. And it's no secret, I obviously have a great deal of respect for Jay. It's an honor of the highest order for me professionally, as a musician, as an audio engineer, as a performer, as a songwriter, to have the privilege of in just 2 days I'll be sharing the stage with Jay and Travis Taylor and several other absolutely brilliant musicians. And but it's been a real pleasure to get to know Jay a little bit on a personal level. And this is a man of such incredible integrity. If all the men and women that served our nation in whatever capacity, either in the military or in in politics, whatever the case may be, if they were like Jay, if they had his level of honesty and integrity and sense of duty, the world would be a infinitely better place, and that's the best way that I can put it. So Jay's presentation today, I would give a solid 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10. It was just extraordinary and outstanding.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if I were to just say step back, it would be just wow.
Without question. Yep. So after Jay, we had, what did we do? We had one more speaker, and that speaker was Ronald Reagan. No.
George Bush?
No, it wasn't George Bush, and it wasn't Clinton. That's right. It was that Ancient Aliens dude, not the guy, not the cough syrup guy with the crazy hair. William Henry, one of the Ancient Aliens guys, and his presentation was so much information, and I liked how he tied in a lot of aspects of ancient sightings, ancient records of UAPs and strange phenomenon, UFOs. He had biblical references, petroglyphs, things going clear back to Sumeria and
even
Egypt. So it was really interesting to get an insight into the research that William has been doing, and it was interesting. But it was a lot of information to take in, but it was still a lot of fun to listen to him. And he's another guy that's just an absolutely great guy, and I have to say that because he signed my Gretsch guitar last year. So. So he's a bit of a musician himself, and someone who appreciates good music, which is kind of like a theme, Roger. That all these guys that are really good at what they do in making these presentations, and that are some of the most credible people out there. One common theme with a lot of them is that they are, if they're not musicians themselves, then they are just really big aficionados and people who appreciate music and the arts. And again, as somebody who has devoted his adult life and even my teenage life to the creation and just enjoyment of music and bringing music to other people, I can relate to that on so many levels. And William Henry is one of those people. So it was great to listen to his presentation. And then after that, Roger, we had a very significant moment that occurred because I got to meet somebody who I've known for many years and who has been a very dear friend of mine, but I've never met her in person. And that, of course, is the legendary May de Agua, who has graciously filled in as a co-host a number of times right here on The Soul of the Unexplained. Her and her husband drove all the way from the great state of Texas to come to PhenomeCon, and they're going to be here tomorrow and Saturday, and they're going to be here to watch Hitchhiker perform. And so it was great. When I saw May, I gave her a big old gym-sized hug, and it was so wonderful to finally get to meet her. And I can't wait to spend some time hanging out with her and Kevin, her husband, while they are here in Vernal for the conference. But after that, Roger, we still had we had one more event after that.
That's right. So it's something that Jim and I make a habit of doing every year, and that is the dinner with the team out at Skinwalker Ranch behind the scenes. And every year that they do this, they pick one episode, and we get to watch that episode with them, and they get to add the behind the scenes commentary. And this year was amazing, again, just like every year. But for those, if you haven't watched season 5 of Skinwalker Ranch, spoilers ahead. They talked about the Droneageddon episode where drones were just dropping out of the sky right from the start. Thomas was attacked, and the cameraman was attacked by a drone. And so it was a really interesting episode. They gave some really great insight behind the scenes that didn't actually make the cut.
Right, and we got some great backstory. Those of you that are subscribers and fans and followers of the absolutely brilliant J Free 906 podcast might recall when Jeff had Eric on, and Eric talked a little bit about some of what the team shared tonight about just exactly how some of that may have come about as far as the drones falling out of the sky and certain challenges being made to the ranch by
the team,
somebody on the team.
Yeah.
And the ranch was like, oh, really? Well, here, hold my beer. Here you go.
And it happened.
And it happened.
Yeah.
So it's just great because we Roger and I obviously are massive fans and appreciators of the research being done out at Skinwalker Ranch. And so having this opportunity to get together with several hundred people, I think probably tonight, in the grand ballroom there at the conference center, and listen to the Skinwalker Ranch team tell us some of the behind the scenes stories, things that maybe ended up on the cutting room floor of the episode that aired, this Droneageddon episode, is it's priceless. It's for guys like Roger and I that are big fanboys of Skinwalker Ranch. It was quite a wonderful way to spend the evening, and it was even better because speaking of Jeff Freeman was at the table with us, along with our dear friends John Nyberger and Annie Campbell, and we had Marilee was there with us, and Patricia Tipton, so got to give a shout out to Tricia, and Ava was also there as well. Ava Krell, I think is her name. And so a lot of it was like an insider's table, which was great because Roger and I speak all the time about how much we enjoy being Skinwalker Ranch insiders and being part of that very special community. And it's always a pleasure to be able to have an opportunity where we can come together with people that we, in a lot of instances, only get to see once a year if we're lucky, in person, that is. So, of course, the dinner was wonderful. The food was good. The dessert was even better. And so it was great. It was just a perfect way to cap off an evening, was to watch the team up there banter amongst themselves and kind of tease each other and have fun at each other's expense. And it's just nice because you get to see a side of the team that particularly if you're not a Skinwalker Ranch insider, you get to see what kind of personalities the team really has because there's no cameras rolling, and you see that these guys are truly just how you see them on the show. That's how they are in real life. But even then, what you don't see is a lot of the time is you don't get to see them busting each other's chops and teasing each other and cracking jokes and having fun and just showing that these are
real people,
just like we are, and just like you are, the person that's right there. And no, that's my nose, Raj.
Sorry,
I know I've got a problem.
It just, how when you get near something big and gravity just pulls it in.
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, moving on, and just you forget that.
Jedi mind wipe.
What we were talking about? Oh yes, all right. The dinner, Skinwalker Ranch.
I like food. Obviously.
Okay, I do have to say, the dessert they brought out in a waffle cone bowl, right? They had the mint chocolate chip ice cream, and then they had the gingerbread cookie. But this year it was a flying saucer, and so my good friend here, Jim, recreated the Roswell incident with the spacecraft crashing in to the mint chocolate chip ice cream, and it was a pretty darn good recreation. I give it
I will neither confirm nor deny if there were bodies that were recovered from the wreckage of my Roswell incident recreation, but I can tell you this much, and this is a little inside information that I can share. It was delicious.
Jim, is that a knock on the... Oh my gosh, they're here. They're here. The men in black. Ah! Okay, just kidding. That was for dramatic effect.
Mind wipe.
And so we're back. Solo the Unexplained. So yes, it was a great dinner, a great evening. Mm-hmm. The team members of Skinwalker Ranch, again, just shared a lot of the fun times that they had, what was going through their minds in prepping for that, for that experiment. And again, just amazing.
Another interesting thing that I wanted to call out is Nick Pope, and I think also Jay Stratton called out and gave a shout out to Ben Hansen regarding the presentation that Ben Hansen gave on the first day of PhenomeCon.
Yes.
Which, as you recall, folks, Roger and I were really impressed with. So, quite obviously, this particular PhenomeCon, I know it's going to sound like hyperbole and like a broken record, whatever you want to call it. This really has been just 2 days in. We still got 2 more days of this to go, Roger.
I know.
These past 2 days have honestly been, I think, the best PhenomeCon experience I've ever had. Certainly, I don't want to speak for you, Roger, but for me, without question, it has been the best PhenomeCon experience yet. And I've got to give a massive tip of the hat to Bridget and to Leisha and to all of the folks that are the organizers and planners and the
volunteers.
The volunteers as well. Just brilliant from top to bottom, this organization. They create such an iconic experience. They really do. And, I already I can't wait to come back next year. I really can't.
Yeah, I will echo the same sentiment. I think this is hands down been the best year so far of PhenomeCon with the lineup that they've had and the topics, and the presentations are just incredible. Just an amazing experience. If you haven't had the chance to come out and do a PhenomeCon yet, definitely it's something that I can't recommend enough, right? And I'm already sad that I know in a couple days this event will end, right? It's the highlight of our year. But knowing that it'll go on and next year will be just as exciting, if not even more. So if you haven't made it out yet, if you can and have it within your means to do so, it's well worth the money. It's well worth the expense, and you will get a lot out of it. I can promise you that.
Could not agree more. So, Roger, we got day 3 coming up tomorrow, and what are some of the things that we're looking forward to tomorrow? Because we have another early start tomorrow morning because we've got an add-on activity where we are having breakfast with Jay
Stratton. Yeah. Looking forward to that. We also have lunch with Caleb Bench. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the consummate highlight that Jim and I really love as an add-on activity tomorrow night is the open mic Voice of the Believers at Remember the Main State Park. And again, right, people share their stories. This is a place where you don't have to be afraid to share something that happened to you that was other people might think is crazy or you are insane, right? That's why they call it Voice of the Believers. Everyone there is a believer. Everyone's had an experience that's unique to them, and they're willing to share. And you know what? After that is done, you can walk away knowing I am not alone in the things that I experience. Other people have experienced many of these same things. They share in that experience, right? Mm-hmm. And as a community, we become stronger and we destroy the stigma around paranormal or UFOs, UAPs, or cryptids, whatever it may be, right? You are amongst friends, and it's really, really good and great to hear these fascinating things that have happened to people and to let them know that we're here to help. We believe them, we love them as individuals, and we just come out stronger as a community.
Perfectly said, Roger. The Voice of the Believers is the highlight activity that Roger and I look forward to more than any other every year at PhenomeCon for all the reasons that Roger just illustrated. And you get just this amazing food, this amazing Dutch oven barbecue that is served, plus the dessert is every bit as good as the actual meal because you get 4 or 5 different flavors of homemade cobbler, like apple cobbler, peach cobbler, raspberry, strawberry, blackberry, blueberry.
Yeah.
With I believe homemade vanilla bean ice cream on top of that, and
cobbler's hot, right? And it just it melts the ice cream. It's delicious. It's
the setting where they have the Voice of the Believers is this absolutely beautiful park where there's like, it's in a Red Rock Canyon, and in fact McConkey Ranch is like about a mile or so up the road from where this park is, where they hold the event. And we've met some really wonderful people at the Voice of the Believers open mic and dinner. And Roger has shared his experiences a number of times. Last year was the first year, and unfortunately Roger wasn't there to see it, but it was the first time I ever went public with my shadow being encounter. And I can't begin to tell you folks how many people have come up to me since then thanking me for having the courage and the strength to talk about it, and then telling me that they've had something similar happen, whether it be from, in the form of the Hat Man entity that visited me, or something very similar. So it's the best way to destigmatize the whole topic, whether we're talking shadow people or whether we're talking about UAPs, alien abductions, Sasquatch sightings, Loch Ness Monster, whatever kind of weird and freaky shit you've experienced. It's a safe space for you to tell your story among fellow experiencers and believers. And in the case of both Roger and I, not only are we believers, but we're also experiencers. And that makes our belief even stronger, because it's not so much belief anymore, it's knowledge, because we lived it, we lived through it. And anybody that's been an experiencer of any kind knows what I'm talking about, knows what that feels like, knows what it feels like to feel like there's a stigma around it, and you're hesitant and reluctant to talk about it because you don't know how people are going to react. And this is the one environment where you can cast all that aside, because you'll be among friends, you'll be among fellow believers and fellow experiencers, and there's nothing more therapeutic than that, folks. Trust me. And it's and so we've got that coming up tomorrow night, and also Roger, we're gonna be joined by a couple of friends tomorrow.
Yeah, bandmates.
So many of you know that I'm in another band other than Hitchhiker, called Flynn's Arcade, which is the 80s new wave and synth pop cover band that I'm in. Flynn's Arcade is the name of the band. And so two of my three bandmates are going to be joining us, and are going to be hanging out with Roger and I for Friday and Saturday, and we're looking forward to seeing them. And they're coming to the Voice of the Believers dinner as well, and so looking forward to seeing some more friends join us at PhenomeCon. So tomorrow is going to be a busy day. Don't ask me who's giving presentations tomorrow. I do know two of the presentations. I guess first thing in the morning is the Ancient Aliens panel.
Yeah, I think it's the Ancient Aliens panel, yep.
And then at some point, Travis Taylor is giving a solo presentation. I think he's the last one of the evening tomorrow before we go to the Voice of the Believers dinner. So two presentations that are certainly something to look forward to, because of course the Ancient Aliens panel will feature Dr. Travis Taylor, William Henry, and Nick Pope. So you know that's going to be a winning combination of what is guaranteed to be one hell of a presentation. So we got an early morning coming up, Raj, so we probably ought to start winding things down. But we want to thank everybody, seriously, all of you that have been watching our recaps every day, that have been commenting, especially those of you that are at PhenomeCon, that have been so wonderful to come up and say hello to Roger and I. I know I'm a big, kind of scary, intimidating guy, but trust me, unless you're a Chiefs fan, and unfortunately the Chiefs won tonight, damn it, go Raiders. But
come on, you're a Swiftie. Okay, folks, no. I'm in trouble now. I'm in trouble.
So just if you like what you see with our content, please hit that subscribe button below, where it's there or there, depending on wherever it is. Just hit that subscribe button if you like what you see and hear. And we're also on Facebook, The Soul of the Unexplained, and that's soul as in SOL, and of the Unexplained. We're on Facebook and this wonderful YouTube channel as well. So that's all I got, Raj. And so, folks,
Yeah.
Have a great evening, and we will see you next time. See ya.